Checking 1, 2, 3. 2, 1, 2, 3.
Everyone. We pray for those who are not in attendance this morning around the circle, that you will guide them as they travel throughout this day. We say special prayers for our military force who are taking care of us to make sure that we are safe. We also say prayers for the war-torn countries throughout this nation. And we also say prayers for our leadership nationwide, that they will also make the best decisions for everyone. We say prayers for our homeless, those who suffer from drug addictions, alcohol, gambling, whatever they may need, their needs may be. We also say prayers for those who struggle to find their way back to you, Creator. As we close this prayer, we pray that you will grant traveling mercies to all of us to and from our destination points throughout this day. We say all these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Susie. The vice chair is not in here, unless Lexia, was you going to do the vice chairman's report, or did you have anything? Okay. Jerry, can you kind of sit back? So we're going to put Lexi on first. I apologize. Go ahead, Lexi, if you come up.
Good morning, Council and Executives. I have a few items. First one is for Realty BIA appraisal budget increase for $56,000.
All right, members of council, if you got your handout, she had it on yesterday. Number one, increase FY 2000 or 2003 Realty appraisal budget by 56.
Motion to approve, number one, Mr. Chairman.
So moved by Kakiza Haska. Is there a second? Second by Buffalo Lake. Question by Old Agency.
Curtis Busnett?
Yes.
Brandon Gibson-Lana?
Yes.
Brandon Adams?
Yes.
Ava Yaines?
Yes.
Louis Johnson?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Thank you. Go ahead, Lexi.
Actually, I passed out a new one this morning, so it says November 2nd on the new one. The one on November 1st, you could just throw that one away. Sorry. So my second one will be an increase for law enforcement BIA budget for $38,035.
Floor is open for any discussions from council before we make that motion. Haipa, floor is yours.
Did they get more in their dollars from them?
Yes,
Yeah.
so for number, it'll be the same for number 3 as well.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
So moved by Curtis,
Second.
second by Gypsy. Question by Louis.
Curtis Bissonnette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
David Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Department Secretary.
Yes.
Number 3, increase for fiscal '23, the Office of Justice budget for $58,450.
Floor is open for discussion, questions.
Motion to approve.
So moved by Curtis. Second by Mr. Adams. Question by Madam Secretary.
Curtis Bissonnette. Yes. Brandon Gypsy.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
David Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson.
Yes.
Department Secretary.
Yes.
Number 4, our Victim Assistance Program under our law enforcement program have received a new grant, NCAIA, for $76,479.
Floor is open for discussion.
Motion to approve.
So moved by Curtis. Second by Susie. Question by Louis.
Curtis Bissonnette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
David Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Department Secretary.
Yes.
Number 5 would be for our EMS. They received the Center of Disaster for $95,592.
Okay, floor is open for a motion.
Motion.
So moved by Curtis. Second by Susie.
Question.
Question by Mr. Adams.
Curtis Bissonnette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
David Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Department Secretary.
Yes.
Our law enforcement received the grant for Indian Highway Safety in the amount of $182,180.
Curtis.
Motion to approve.
So moved by Curtis. Second by Susie.
Question.
Question by Gypsy.
Curtis Bissonnette. Yes. Brandon Gypsy.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Or number 6. Okay. Number 6?
David Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Department Secretary.
Yes.
Thank you.
As we were entering in the budgets, we were correcting the IDC on some grants and federal awards. Some of them don't pay the full 100% of their indirect costs, so we have to cover that rest of the indirect, so we call it indirect supplement, to cover indirect budgets. So this is updated. So this is for the fiscal '23, which will be coming out of gaming in the amount of $686,283.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
So moved by Kaki Zahaska. Is there a second? Second by Louis Johnson. Question by Susie.
Curtis Bissonnette. Yes. Brandon Gypsy.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. David Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Department Secretary.
Yes.
Number 8 would be to use our ARPA funds to cover our fiscal 23 tax budgets in the amount of $3,433,442.
So moved by Tokunawa,
Second.
second by Kakiza Haska. Question by Susie.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Amy Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wanna.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Number 9, to use ARPA to cover our fiscal 23 lease income budgets in the amount of $1,819,271.
So moved by Tokunawa,
Second.
second by Kakiza Haska. Question by Iagapta.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Amy Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wanna.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed.
As we were meeting with some programs, we realized that some of these budgets were not approved, but were in the systems. So for fiscal 22, our youth lodge grant in the amount of $993,857.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? If you have no questions, Kakiza Haska moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is 10 and 11 the same then? Or we're going to approve the grant plus we're going to approve the match?
Yes, because I guess when you guys approved the overall approval for the grant, you agreed to match the program. So the 328 will be coming from gaming, while the 993 will be the grant itself.
So what year are we in with that?
This was for fiscal 22. They are now currently in fiscal 23. They are working on their 23 budget right now we just had a meeting with their granting person
Okay.
last week. So most likely I'll be coming back next month with fiscal 23 budget and the match number.
Okay. Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion moved by Kakiza Haska, second by Madam Secretary. Calling for a question. Question by Iagapta.
Curtis Bissonnette. Yes. Brandon Gypsy Wanna.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Amy Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Dion Crawford. Yes. Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed.
Number 12, our sex offenders office, register office for fiscal 22 received a second chance grant in the amount of $749,834.
Question.
Oh, crap, sorry. Fiscal 22 youth lodge match.
I'll make that motion to approve.
Okay. Kakiza Haska. Is there a second? Second by Bade Hadakia. Question by Madam Secretary.
Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wanna.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Amy Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Dion Crawford. Yes. Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Council approval for number 12, the registered office for second chance grant.
So moved by Bade Hadakia,
Second.
second by Kakiza Haska. Question by Madam Secretary.
Dion Crawford. Yes. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wanna.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Amy Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Chairman, motion passed.
So for number 13, I came in front of you all for a motion to increase our capital improvement budget. Motion number 11, but due to me not stating it was coming from gaming, it was never transferred over into the capital improvement budget. So this is technically a clarification for that motion. And it's going to be at a lower amount due to making motions from April to now, using some of those funds already. So it's only going to be the variance of it. So a motion to transfer $300,584 to capital improvement.
Thanks for the clarification. Next.
So move.
So moved by Kakiza Haska. Second by Tokunawa. Question by Oladensi.
Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Iwana,
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos,
Yes.
Louis Johnson, Dion Crawford,
Yes.
Travel Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
And for clarification, it's pretty much the same thing, but for the reserve budget for number 14. So transferring 298,722 to the reserve budget for fiscal 22.
Thank you. So moved by Madam Secretary,
Second.
second by Dion,
Question.
question by Curtis.
Travel Secretary,
Yes.
Curtis Bissonnette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen, A. Lydia Amos, Louis Johnson, Dion Crawford. Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Okay, anything else, Lexi?
Nope, thank you for your time.
Motion to approve the budget office report? So moved by Dion. Second by Agency. Question by Curtis.
Dion Crawford.
Yes.
Curtis Bissonnette. Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen, A. Lydia Amos, Louis Johnson, Travel Secretary.
Yes.
Alrighty, Jerry, thank you for making time for us for your report, your action items. The action items were handed out. So floor is yours, Jerry.
Thank you, Tribal Council. Today I have 3 action items. The first 2 are pretty standard. It's something we do every year. The first one is a DAL contract addendum. It's to renew the contract with David Lawrence and Appraisal Services. It's a part of our 638 contract. It was advertised in 2016 through RFP. He was selected, and we've been doing contract addendums since. The second one is a motion for sale of surplus buffalo. We're working them November 15th through the 17th. We're estimating around 40 animals, mainly calf crop and yearlings. We won't know the exact number until we work the herd and get through that amount. There is no sale at Siston this year, so we'll do an on-site sale at ME Swim property, and we'll advertise it. And Karina's got a bunch of business contacts she's going to call out, and then probably just meet on site and then do a one-day auction sale up at the farm. Action item number 3 is, it's a unique one. The tribe has first right of refusal according to our public law. This land involves family member to family member selling land. Basically, 2 family members want to sell to one, but the tribe has first right of refusal, so I'm recommending to council to refuse the land available for sale and to allow the tribal member to purchase from his other family members. That information is all in the back, a letter from the BIA kind of explaining it more in detail. But they need action from council in order to move forward and allow the family member to purchase the other family member's interest. And this is part of a land exchange that was done previously, and there's 4 home sites there. The tribe really has no interest in that tract. It's basically family owned at this point.
Okay, floor is open for Dion. Questions or comments for Jerry?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have 2 items actually for realty. So with the surplus buffalo sale, you know, my concern is that we, as a tribe, we're starting to treat these, and I'm not saying this in a negative context, but if I don't bring attention to it, then I am at fault. You know, we treat these animals as not part of a herd and not as our relatives as we have for thousands of years. We're treating them like a commodity. And I think that though I know there are management standards and practices and things that happen, I also think that, you know, we as a tribe and as a people for thousands of years were sustained by our relatives. And I would encourage us and like to see us begin to treat them again as our relatives. And I know that that probably seems very philosophical in nature. However, the closer that we can behave and maintain those practices as recognizing them as being our relatives, the more we maintain that identity. I'm not saying that this is wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I also think that our perspective and paradigm, we have to remember that these are our relatives, and that even the practices of when we take a buffalo, you know, there's a ceremony that goes with that. So if there is something other than opening them up and auctioning them off like animals, then I would hope that we would look towards that to maintain those values as a Dakota people. Thank you, Mr. Oh, and the other thing is from my district, the Lake Traverse District went on record, motion 10 from October 27th to go back to 1-year leases instead of 2. And I think that myself and Enemy Swim, expressed a concern with subleasing and some of the policies. And I know that other tribes have codified their policies in regards to their land. And I think that we have policy, but really having a code for that is something that we should go towards. So I probably will make a motion to that effect to just start that process after we're done with these 3 items. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dion. Going on to number 1. Any questions or comments from leadership?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
So moved by Curtis. Second by Dion. Question by Madam Secretary.
Curtis Bissonnette?
Yes.
Randy J.C.
Yes.
Brandon Adams?
Yes.
Dallas Owen?
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos? Yes. Louis Johnson?
Yes.
Dion Crawford?
Yes.
Public Secretary? Yes. Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, Council. Moving on to number 2, the surplus buffalo sale. Any questions or comments from leadership? Haipa, floor is yours.
Thank you. How many surplus buffalo are we talking?
We did rough estimates, just looking at the calf crop and what we had from last year, and we're projecting around 40. But we really don't know the exact numbers till we work them and get them all through and processed. That's kind of a determination made on site. Previous councils always approved up to a certain point. Karina is not comfortable with the number because we don't have an exact count.
So a while back, Mr. Chairman, we had something for the government so we could sell our buffalo for providing meat to, was it the military or whatever? Did we have a resolution that, where are we at on that?
Was that the one that Mark Van Norman's working on, right? Still in the works with that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But Mark's coming in at 11:20 on our agenda.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just wondering how this, what if we couldn't do providing the buffalo meat for our own facilities, like using that buffalo meat at the school and selling it at our store and providing it at the restaurants at Dakota Magic, Dakota Sioux, Dakota Connection. I mean, what is that, the Oasis, halfway, to Rapid City? They have buffalo burgers, why, I mean, if that's our staple, I just thought perhaps we could start doing that. It's supposed to be healthier than beef and stuff, so aside from selling it to the federal government or whatever it is that Mark's working on, I would like us to see that, and maybe that's where our surplus buffalo can come in as part of that.
No, that's the move. That's the direction that we do want to move in. But going into order, Curtis, OAC, then Tokunoa. I see your hand over there.
So, yeah, that is the direction we want to go in, but until we get, to Van Norman to get us some more information, and then we LLC our buffalo, I mean, that's where we're at right now. But that is the direction we want to go, and I think that was the direction when that store was first built too, was to get USDA certified buffalo meat in our stores so we can sell it, and also our fish. So that is still in the works. We're going to continue to keep that in our vision on the side here as we go through. But and you're right. Mark is wanting to go into business with the the Army services to provide them buffalo meat too, because it is healthier. But that's all in the works. I mean, it's a combination of us and a few different tribes that would be able to do that. So until we get, you know, a meeting with Mark and see where we're at on that, I think that's where it's at right now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Curtis. Going over to Oladensi, then Tokanawa, then Madam Secretary.
I think that's the direction they're going with Bolorama. We just gave them that money for purchasing all the equipment to become USD certified and the renovation money. I think in the future, with probably in the next year, we should hopefully be there. But for now, I think we're just going to have to sell the excess.
Thank you, Oladensi. Going to Tokanawa, that's what happens when you show up late.
Well, if someone read their text at the 8 o'clock this morning when everyone else was up, we wouldn't be in that situation. So then, Jerry, my question is what's the estimated income you're looking to get out of this?
That all varies on weight and the breed, if it's a bull or a cow. A lot of them use them for slaughter, raise them for slaughter. Some of them are raised to breed. It just varies on the weight. And the market's been up and down the last few years. We've had good years and we had bad years. Last year we didn't make a ton of money, but this income is needed to help operate the farms and to move forward and take care of and maintain everything. But it varies, and we'll see. This will be the first time we did a live on-site auction at the actual buffalo farm. We're hoping it's going to be profitable or good for our income, but there's really no way to know until we get through it.
And yeah, so that's kind of the reason why I asked, because I know Lake Travis expressed concern, but then I saw, you know, the last line, the income for these yearly sales are used to operate and maintain the buffalo farms. And so if we don't go forward with this, is there an alternative that you guys have in mind, or is that kind of...
Yeah, we can beg you guys for money.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dallas. Going over to Madam Secretary.
I just wanted to say, this is mostly cash crop and yearlings, so these are young, very young buffalo. And they've been maintaining the buffalo farm for many years now, and I don't think they have that much staff either. And we have to remember that buffalo are wild animals, and they run 40 miles per hour and can turn on a dime. So it's a dangerous job. So it's good that you're going to have the auction right on site. I think that's safer than loading up buffalo and hauling them someplace. But I think if we're going to talk about selling to the Army, all this plan with Mark Van Norman, then we need to bring Realty and Karina, bring them to the table, because, you know, we can't just randomly make these decisions without their voice, without their input. So they need to be at the table too, and I just wanted to remind us of that when we're making these decisions, bring them to the table for their input. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Going in order. Gypsy, did you hand your hand raised?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and after that, Curtis.
Okay, thank you. My other question is, how do we ensure we get top dollar? Because I know we have excellent buffalo.
That's, you know, it's going to be a unique experience. We're going to advertise it that we have 100% pure buffalo. There's no cow genes, nothing like that to worry about. And we have the blood work to back that up. And we're just hoping we can get everything figured out and advertise well enough that we get enough people that want to come buy these pure buffalo. Sometimes it works. Sometimes they're just in it for the meat. They don't really care if they're 100% or not. But she's reaching out to other tribes that might be possibly interested. So yeah, it'd be nice to get something figured out for next year. This year, we got it scheduled. The veterinarian's coming. Everything just kind of went really fast. But I'm here and ready to work and collaborate with anybody on the future of the buffalo farms and what we can do with the excess or surplus animals.
Do we need to worry about protecting, I mean, for our buffalo's DNA being used for other stuff? Do we need to worry about any of that?
Not that I'm aware of. When people buy the animals, they own them. They do pretty much what they want with them. And capacity is also another issue too. We can only sustain so many animals at each farm, so something has to be done.
Yeah,
But yeah, appreciate your comments.
thank you.
Thank you, Gypsy. Going over to Curtis.
So when Mark Van Norman brought this up, I think we were in DC at the time, and we were just kind of sitting here talking. But that was the first, Madam Secretary, on your comment about getting Charlene and Jerry. That was the first thing that we said, is that if we're gonna do this, we're gonna bring these guys on board. But right now, it's just he brought it up, just talking. He's gonna look. He was looking into it more, and then when that happens, we'll take that necessary step to bring everybody on board and whoever is involved in this. And definitely, these guys would be at the forefront. So it would, right now it's just talks and seeing if we can do it. And it's just not with our tribe, it's with other tribes that own buffalo. So it's going to be a collaboration of everybody. So that's kind of where we're at with right now. It's just kind of talks right now. But if anything, you know, if the tribe wants to move forward on that, then we bring everybody to the table and we start having that discussion and moving forward and how we're going to do that. So that's where we're at. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Okay, back to Gypsy. What else?
Oh, thank you. One more question. We had a sale last year, didn't we? Do you remember how many that was?
I think we sold like 50 animals at the Siston Livestock Auction.
Okay.
We did okay. It wasn't the greatest return, but that's just
Yeah.
the risk you take. Yeah, the market's up and down, so it just depends. And then when the government started buying all kinds of meat, buffalo meat, you know, that kind of drove prices down
Okay.
because everybody was selling. But yeah, I'll definitely, after I get the full information, I always share it with council, give you all the info, how much we sold, what the income was, and all that information. And hopefully we don't lose any animals while we work them. That's always an issue too, but we do what we can to make sure they're safe.
Okay, thank you.
Dallas, then Curtis.
Second.
So moved by Dallas for number 2, the surplus buffalo sale. Second by Haifa. Before I call a question, Curtis, you had a question?
No,
Come. Question by Curtis.
Dallas Owen? Yes. A. Lydia Amos? Yes. Louis Johnson? Dion Crawford? No. Curtis Desnett?
Yes.
Brandon Juicy Yes. Brandon Adams?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Okay, floor is open for number 3 for council. If you have any questions or comments for number 3 action item, tribal member land purchase request.
Motion to.
So moved by Madam Secretary.
Oh, okay. I was gonna. Second.
Second by Kakiza Haska. Question by Louis.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Curtis Desnett?
Yes.
Brandon Juicy Yes. Brandon Adams?
Abstain.
Dallas Owen? Yes. A. Lydia Amos? Yes. Louis Johnson? Dion Crawford? Yes.
Thank you, leadership. Back to realty. Jerry, you have anything else?
No, thank you, council. That's all I have.
Okay, Dion, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the past probably 4 months, coming out of Lake Traverse, there's been a lot of concern, obviously, regarding lack of, or the membership feels that there could be more income with our land leases, and that they're concerned about, of course, subleasing. They're concerned about looking at some of those policies. And I think when we had when I had spoken with one of the attorneys, you know, we have grave concerns about other tribes, like I said, have codes regarding their land. So I'm going to make a motion that I'm going to make a motion directing the executive committee to begin the process of assessing the land leases, subleases, and if that's however you see fit to have that assessed, whether it's legal, whether it's having it done in-house, that we begin to assess the process and move towards building a code.
Okay, do you have that motion, Lindsay, before I call for a second? Just ask for clarification too with when you're writing it down for Dion. You got it then, Lindsay? Calling for a second. Question by Dallas.
So, why the entire executive committee as opposed to just the chairman? Because isn't Jerry under the chairman?
We can do that. I can amend it to be the chairman. If that,
Well, I was just kind of curious.
I wasn't-
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there was no reason. That, or I could just take them out of it and just do a work order to legal, and they can assign it how they see fit as well.
So, Jerry, with you over there, how would this best work for you?
It don't matter. I can get the information on all the land leases, the amounts per acre. If there's any subleasing complaints, we need to know that so we can do compliance checks. And development of the laws, that's something I've been trying to work on with legal, and it's just a slow-moving process. Under the HERTH Act, we can write laws for leasing, egg leasing, residential leasing, business, and commercial leases. I've been looking at different versions of different tribal ones that were approved and ratified by BIA, and there's just a lot that we have to pick and choose from. When you're creating a new law, it has to be right. It's got to go through that judicial process, and you still need legal involved from start to finish, because I'm not an attorney. I don't want to write something the way I want it. It needs to be written the way it's beneficial to the tribe. But I'm all for this, and we'll comply and do everything we need to.
So, yeah, Dion, I'd be comfortable if you just have the chairman, realty, and legal.
That's fine.
All right. So,
Go ahead,
with that, I'll second that.
Curtis, you have a question, Madam Secretary? But I hear your second, Tokanoa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really think we should have just sat down and talked about this instead of just throwing a motion out there, because there is a lot of stuff, what he just said, there's a lot more to this than just, and I do really think we need to sit down and discuss our options moving forward. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, but if it's something that we're all in agreement to change, I think we all got to sit down and change that then together. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Good, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm in a unique situation right here because I have my district making motions and directing me to move forward, as well as the Lake Traverse District is also in a dispute with a request that the district has and has made, I think 4 motions on that, as well as, so I'm caught in the middle, but I also know that I need to take action. And I also know that, as RPC, being the ex officio of RPC puts me in a unique position as well. So I'm more than comfortable to go into executive session and discuss what was discussed at my district meeting, but I think that as we had discussed before, we do know, and Jerry knows, and this is more of a supportive role for him, because I also know that he is put in a unique position because of all of these issues. And the need for this is it's obviously tardy. I mean, this is a need. Also, and I think I brought up, that we are aware of a waterfront lease that somebody is paying $250 a year for waterfront property. $250 a year. That is well below market value. And when we talked about, the assessment, we don't Do we have money for the assessment? Do we not? I mean, I think our tribe is by and large losing out on probably a lot of revenue that we could, and that lease income revenue is really at the discretion of this body of how to use it. It doesn't have the same rules and regulations, even like gaming does, you know, and so some of those issues, I don't know how else to bring them to the table other than to just bring it. And I think that in being transparent, and because of those unique situations that I'm in, I would rather do it here. I mean, I think if we could set up a roundtable, and if that's what you want to do to discuss it, but then we also have to, you know, attend the roundtables as well, because we've had roundtables set up and, you know, there's not attendance there. So thank you.
Madam Secretary, then Curtis.
I was just going to add that I guess is their homework done? I guess because I guess it would have been nice to do a roundtable so we could have all these issues brought to us that are in the leases, like identified, like what are the issues in these leases, and how will that be remedied with legal? I mean, and that would be up to legal, but yeah, I agree. You know, some of these leases are probably need to be increased if they're doing lakefront property at $250 a year. That is a great loss of revenue for us. But I thought we did have a land lease policy, but it's deficient apparently.
Not necessarily. This policy was created by Elva and Carol Jordan. When I came in, we rewrote some stuff, and the council since then has amended things. Like, I don't have the ability to negotiate. It's based off the renter review that our in-house appraiser does, and that they either accept it or they don't. If they don't accept it, it goes on the bid sheet. So I can say that we've been increasing rent for ag leases since I've been here. They've been increasing a lot, probably 10 to 15% a year. Some of those leases, home site leases on Lakeshore were here before I was in our 25-year leases. You know, and there's more than one. They get it locked in. It probably should be renter reviewed or increased every 5 years, and it wasn't. So issues like that we're finding and correcting. But yeah, it's unfair to the tribe when you have Lakeshore at that low of cost. But there's multiple ones out there. So it's just how they negotiated the lease and what the terms and the rent was set at. I mean, so there's some things I can do, and there's some things that we have to learn to live with because it was done in the past, and they have a legal binding contract.
Okay, thank you. That brings some clarity to it too. So basically, this would be a supportive action for you.
Yeah, I'm all for it. We are fully accountable. We have all the information that you guys are looking to get, and we can come up with some solutions. And if we have the support of leadership, that's better yet for me to get done what we need to get done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, just taking a couple more, then I'm gonna call for a question and move on. Curtis, then Dallas.
So I take it we're going to move forward on this motion then? And then we'll go from there? If that's, okay. All right.
Dallas.
So yeah, I was just gonna say I think we should move forward because this is, you know, the first step in moving this forward. Otherwise, as Dion hinted, we'll have a roundtable and then we'll still be talking about it, you know, 2 months down the road. I feel like we all know that happens too frequently. So yes, I'd like this to move forward. Thank you.
Question.
Question by Curtis.
Dion Crawford,
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Can you please reread the motion on what it actually says? Restate your motion.
Yeah, have the chairman and legal begin the process of assessing the land lease policy.
The land lease policy. Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos.
Yes.
Louis Johnson.
No.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes.
Thank you, leadership. Anything else for Jerry?
That's all I have, Tribal Council. Thank
Motion to
you.
approve the realty report. So moved by Dion. Second by Curtis. Question by Susie.
Dion Crawford.
Yes.
Curtis Bissonnette. Brandon Dickinson.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. A. Lydia Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Thank you, leadership. Whenever Cliff is ready, he gave everybody a handout already for his action items for his report. So whenever you're ready, Cliff.
Good morning, Council. I handed out the report there for the SWO DOT for November 3. Should be 2022. Big Cooley Road project. The SWO DOT construction program will complete the seeding of the shoulders along this route. Also an approach culvert, which was not a part of the original federally approved PS&E for the project. So motion number 1 would be to approve the change order number 7 for the approach pipe replacement and seeding change order and SWO DOT TTP federally funded budget modification with SWO Tribal Chairman signature authority on all documents.
Thank you, Cliff. Floor is open for leadership. Questions or comments? So moved by Madam Secretary. Second by Dallas.
Question.
Question by all agency.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Curtis Bissonnette. Brandon Dickinson.
No.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. A. Lydia Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Dion Crawford. Yes. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Go back to Cliff.
BIA Road 711 reconstruction project. There are a couple wooden poles along the route which will need to be replaced, also adding one pole, light pole, to the project. So motion number 2 would be to approve the BIA 711 reconstruction change order, replacing existing lighting poles and fixtures, also adding one additional pole, and SWO TTP federally funded budget modification with SWO Tribal Chairman signature authority on all documents.
Thank you, Cliff. Floor is open for discussions. Any questions or comments? Haiba, floor is yours.
Thank you. So why, these are poles, why weren't these all included in the beginning with the plan for the restructure or the redoing of it all?
These were lighting poles that were a little bit off of the project. They thought they were out of the right-of-way, but they are, after we looked at them, they are in the right-of-way, and we do have the ability to use the federal funding to replace the 2 poles, and then we added one out by TZ Road at the intersection.
Okay, so how do they determine ahead of time if it's in the right-of-way or not? I mean, isn't that a pretty specific
Yeah, it's
thing
just
to check?
Yeah.
So, and so who's doing the work?
That'd be Red Lake Builders. They have the contract for the project. They have a subcontractor, Parsons Electric. They're out of Fargo. Doing a very good job. I think the poles look good, and I think with this change order, we can just add a little more aesthetics to the project. I really don't see an issue with it. So.
Yeah, okay, I was just saying, because a lot of times with the change orders and other construction projects, it always costs more money, so just wondering how much more. And I'm glad we have federal funding for it, but it's still.
It is
it's still
federal
good to
funding.
know.
It'll be totally federally funded. And sometimes these things with a project with this much going on,
Okay.
some things get missed in review. So.
Okay, thank you.
Emily Swim, then Curtis. Motion approved by Emily Swim.
Second.
second by Curtis, but before I call for a question, floor is yours, Curtis.
No, I was just going to say it's federal funding.
Yes.
Use it to our advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're not paying for anything, so it shouldn't be a problem for us. I mean, we use their money, so thank you.
Thank you. Kakiza Haska calling for a question.
What?
Question by Dion.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Ava Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Dion Crawford. Yes. Curtis Bissonnette. Yes. Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you. Anything else, Cliff?
That should do it. Just the 2 action items this month.
Thank you, Cliff. A motion to approve the transportation report.
Yeah.
So moved by Dallas, second by all agency. Question by Curtis.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Ava Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Dion Crawford. Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Thank you, Tribal Council. As always, I appreciate the agenda. So, thank you.
Members of council, I'm going to do a quick change since EMS has a quick action item. Then Dr. Johnson, she has a big old packet here. So,
Chairman, Madam Secretary, thank you for letting me make that change. I've issued to you or given you a quote for Vantech Communications. Just as a little bit of history real quick, the Motion 73 authorized this grant, the acceptance of the $220,000 Tribal Homeland Security Grant. Motion 106, we made a motion to approve the purchase of the repeaters. This is now the bill that's due so that we can now install these repeaters on the communication towers. There'll be 3 of them going up. This will improve law enforcement communications throughout the reservation, and the funding source for this will be the 2020 Tribal Homeland Security Grant. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to pay this invoice from Vantech Communications, the amount of $64,155.54.
so moved by Curtis, second by Dallas. Question by Brendan Adams.
Curtis Bissonnette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Brandon Adams.
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Ava Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Dion Crawford. Yes. Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Anything else, Jim?
There's nothing else. I'm grateful. Questions from anybody?
Louis, floor is yours. Then after that, Dion.
As I don't know, a few months ago, we made a motion to put fire departments that we help out. That's Browns Valley, Eden,
And probably Wabe.
Wabe. It's 1,500. And every time I go to Eden, I get attacked by all these guys that we haven't got our funding yet. I'm just wondering where we can, I know we put it under EMS, but I don't think he has the funding to do it.
Well, I think if we could fund it through equipment budget, we could make that work, but otherwise we would need to do a budget modification of some kind to appropriate that funding.
But yeah, we need.
And I get numerous calls too, Louis. It's just, yeah.
Yeah. We just need to get them their funding, because they are volunteers, so.
Go ahead. Thanks, Louis. Dion.
Do we need to make a motion to that effect? Because it's 15 for everyone. We already did, okay.
We've done that. It's just where do we fund it from? And I need them to submit bills. I just have never seen anything, and I keep asking that they'll submit something. And I don't know if they've gone somewhere else or to legal or where they're at, but if we can get those bills, we can find a funding source. Brooke and I can work on that and make that happen. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, it's only one time a year, so I can have them, well, once I go to Eden, I know they'll be asking, but I can have them probably get them to you, okay? On that one, I don't know about Browns Valley or Wabe.
I can call Browns Valley.
Can you? Good.
Yeah.
Bartz, I think it is the fire chief. Yeah.
today is Wing Wednesday over in Eden, so Louis could make some
Yeah, I gotta
contact.
go there tonight, so I'll give them good news.
Dion, floor is yours.
Thank you. I just wanted to really publicly commend you, your staff, the DARE team, the facilities team for your quick action, for the service that you provided to the members, and LTUC especially last week with the water outage. You know, I think that, you know, how quickly you had a water truck over there. You know, the DARE team was delivering meals, you know, LTUC, everybody just reacted so quickly and with such compassion and commitment to serving the community. I want you to know, and I hope if they're listening, I want everybody that assisted our community to know how deeply we appreciate that. And every single time we have a crisis, catastrophic event, you guys are like quick.
And thank you for that. It's a tribute to the programs that just stepped up and really came together. Additionally, we need to thank Charlene's group for their assistance there as well. So yeah, thank you for that. Let's not have another one for a while.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, motion to approve the emergency management report. So moved by Curtis. Second by Louis. Question by Madam Secretary.
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Lydia Amos. Yes. Louis Johnson. Yes. Dion Crawford. Yes. Travel Secretary.
Yes.
Thank you, leadership. Dr. Johnson's bringing the education report and the early Head Start report. Then after that, we have enrollment, and then go on break. Dr. Johnson, floor is yours.
Good morning, Council. Thank you. I thought I had no action items, and then everything came in the last couple of days. I gave you a supplemental packet, and in there's copies of some bids there, and I'd like you to approve some computer bids for me. I put and you can see the top two, there's a whole bunch behind it, but the top two is this IT1, and then the connecting point, which is right behind it. So I would like to approve both of those bids, and the funding source will come out of the broadband grant. So approve both of those bids.
Any questions or comments from leadership before you make that motion for those bids? You do them both at the same time, right, Dr.
Yep.
Johnson?
Motion for IT1, amount being 49,900, and then connecting point is 82,500. Is that correct, Dr. Johnson?
It's 77,500 for the second one. It's right on the back side. Those were my two low bids. I had a lengthy discussion with IT yesterday on the differences of the amounts there and how come, and so it's just a different style of computer, and so I want to go ahead and order both of those bids in. I need to hurry.
Motion moved by Emily Swim. Before I call for a second, there's a question coming from Haipa.
Thank you. Where are these going to be used?
These are written into the broadband grant. They're going out to communities.
Okay.
So I got a few of them in, not these ones, a few other ones in one other time. And so I've been really targeting our homeschool people and our elders. So a few of them are in there. And so I'm going to officially, now that we can get these ordered and get going on these, I'm going to go ahead and put a news thing out for the community and tell them how to do that and how to get them and all of that.
Okay.
So these are intended to help people with, like, if they're going to do telehealth, or if they have education needs, or other needs that are related to our pandemic.
Okay.
And so this is part of one of our goals, and part of that is, so after we get these going, I just don't want to be, bombarded with a lot of requests right now. I just need to get it out there, get it announced, and get these computers in before we get that in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's on reservation.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Second by Haipa, calling for question. Question by Susie.
Dallas Owen? Yes. Ava Amos? Yes. Louis Johnson? Yes. Dion Crawford? Yes. Curtis Bissonnette?
Yes.
Brandon Justiwana?
Yes.
Brandon Adams?
Yes.
Federal Secretary?
Yes.
Then the other one is the other action item. I guess it can be part of Head Starts too, but Head Start, I found they have ARPA funding in for 71000, and it already has its number. You have a budget in the supplemental, and so that really needs to be approved. If you look at, where did I put it? A little bit in office, a little bit in equipment, and a huge amount in like construction type, because I'm not sure where that, when you're remodeling, but it's planned to remodel some kitchens and do anything. And so I wasn't aware that this money was, it took me a few months to identify that we even had this money, because I kept asking, where is it? Because I heard that it was in, but I didn't know where it was at. And so finally, working through the Office of Head Start, we have identified it, and it's just to help. Every Head Start program got this funding, but now we're on a fast track. So the lists, they want to remodel some kitchen cabinets and some flooring and some maybe some furniture, and they have actually 2 kitchens, and so it'll be both kitchens. So we're going to be on a fast track to get this done, get the RFPs up and the bids out.
Motion made by Madam Secretary, approved. Second by Dallas.
Question.
Question by Curtis.
Federal Secretary?
Yes.
Curtis Bissonnette?
Yes.
Brandon Justiwana?
Yes.
Brandon Adams?
Yes.
Dallas Owen? Yes. Ava Amos? Yes. Louis Johnson? Yes. Dion Crawford? Yes.
The next in your supplemental packet, I did write, you can open this up and it says boards and commissions. And so this is where the social studies hearing is in Sioux Falls. So you have a direct copy of where it is. November 4th, if you want to be heard and speak, you have to go through the processes. And November 4th opens it up. But this is what I know is everybody who didn't get to speak in Aberdeen is pushed over to Sioux Falls. So you're not guaranteed. And if you get on the list, then you might be pushed over to Rapid City next. And so I just keep pushing these out. And then on the second page, you're going to see a copy, and I did email this to you guys, so you all seen this, because this is truly how I felt like I was, like my feet were knocked out from under me when Secretary Flute got up there and said, I'm announced himself, his title, I'm a former chairman from Sistan-Wapton Oyate, and when, he made it sound like he was really advocating for Sistan-Wapton Oyate. So I want to make it very clear to him that he does not advocate for us. I'm not sure he even communicates well with us. And so that was the email I put out there, and then I have attached my letter and our resolution. And I'm sending this out I've already sent it out to the Department of Education, and then I'm going to mail it out with a cover letter to the governor today. So we're going to get that out there. So our our feelings there. One of the things I want to mention is when we were in Aberdeen in providing, and I did provide that testimony in Aberdeen, one of the things I noticed is there was not a lot of Native American people. And we really need to, there was just a handful of us, and we really need to have our presence be known, that we value what this is, and we value our part in this. And so I'd really like it if, it's going to happen on November 21st. I would, I'm going to I want to take my staff down with me, but I also would like to have some kind of administrative leave so we could have people down there representing Sissetawan, and they don't have to speak. They just have to bring those beautiful brown faces and be present. I mean, that's a huge showing, and we need that. This is on our side of the state, and I think that we are one of the tribes that should be responsible to help push this forward and say, hey, we are Indigenous, we have a place in this, and our standards are not appropriate.
Dr. Johnson, just get with Madam Secretary. That's her administration for admin leave for that day, for the 21st when you go up there. And that invitation is open for leadership as well. Dallas, then Gypsy.
I just want to say thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your hard work. I know that this has been ongoing for almost 2 years now. And it's really frustrating to see that the state of South Dakota feels that this is just an issue that they can push off to the side. And so one of the things that I was wondering, and I've been trying to follow a lot of the local newspapers within South Dakota just to see what kind of publicity this is getting, to see which side public opinion is swaying. And I think it would be prudent if we were to invest heavily into the public opinion part of things by putting out our statements in several newspapers across the state, as opposed to just a couple local ones. So that way, it's garnishing the attention it needs from West River to East River, and we can make sure that we're heard all across the state. Because I know we have a heavy presence on the online forums, but when it comes to the hard copy, I think the only couple ones I've seen has been that really went in depth about it has been Argus Leader, and I think the Watertown Public Opinion had a few pieces on it. So I don't know, Madam Secretary or Dr. Johnson, what kind of budget you guys have for publishing, but I would like to see if you guys could get together and put extra funding towards their printing budget so that they can get publications out there more to get this issue more widely addressed. All right, thank you.
Gypsy, floor is yours.
Thank you. Have you, I don't know where the school board is and the JOM board are, where they're at on this, but have you already reached out to them to attend this on the 21st? I think it would be, I think that would be beneficial, right? Or not really?
Yeah, I have a JOM board meeting tonight, so that would be appropriate. Okay. I'll reach out to all of them and see if we can get something going. Thank you for that suggestion. And the school board, I'm not sure what school board are you talking about?
For the, well, I guess any of our tribal school boards, which TZ and Enemy Swim.
It would be probably Enemy Swim because Teoshpazina, it does not, is not approved by state, but I'll put it up to both of the school boards because this is a matter for all of us as Native people.
Right. Let me see, what else was I going to ask? I guess that's all. I'm just hoping that nothing else gets scheduled on the 21st because I would like to attend. And so we don't have to speak. And you were able to speak at the one in Aberdeen, correct?
Correct.
Will you be able to speak again? Or since you did already, even if you register, it's going to be given to those who didn't, right?
I'm going to still try to.
Okay.
So,
already. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Gypsy. Going over to Curtis. Floor is yours.
What time on the 21st?
9 a.m. See this packet? No, look for this packet. I just gave it to you as the supplemental. It's a full packet of everything.
If you're really here at 6 a.m., Curtis, you'll make it way early for breakfast.
Do you need another one? Okay.
But I got my tear jerker ready if you need me to speak, okay?
Awesome. Should I put you in for speaking?
I was gonna make sure he's registered.
Yeah.
Tearjerker number 1. Floor is yours, Gypsy.
Thank you. I just have one more question, or I don't know. This is in Sioux Falls, and I know we have a lot of Native people that live in Sioux Falls. Do we have a contact or a group, something that we could put out a call to all the Native peoples in the surrounding areas to attend this, even if they don't need, like you said, having a huge presence?
I don't.
Okay.
But
Anybody
I'll
else
reach
know?
out and see what I can do, but I don't know.
I have one or two friends on Facebook in Sioux Falls, but I mean, if there was even if we put it in our show to, like you said, in the thing, and maybe putting that call up, but anyway.
Go ahead, Dallas.
Our previous PR person, Allison Renville, lives in Sioux Falls, and I know she's still fairly active in this, so I think she'd be a good person to reach out to if we want to organize something that way.
Okay, anything else, Dr. Johnson?
The Head Start approvals, are we moving on from social studies now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. FYI on our review, which is, they call it a FA2 review for Head Start, and we haven't had one for a while, and lucky me, I get all kinds of monitoring things here with them. And anyway, it's going to happen the week of November 15th. They're going to be on site the whole week. But at one point in time, and you see I've got it on your schedule here, it says 2 p.m. I'll need some council people to be in here. They really want to meet with at least the secretary or a representative from her office, and then some of the council. It doesn't have to be all of the council, but they need to both, and we're going to combine both council and policy council at the same time, and just be prepared to whoever is to be grilled. They'll just ask you questions about the Head Start reports and what you get, and did you do training and all that kind of stuff. And I did talk to Secretary about this, and this is the time that worked best in her schedule. So 2 p.m. So if some of you can be here and commit to that, I would love it.
Yeah, Dallas will be here.
Dallas? Okay, got it.
Unfortunately, no. I'll have a newborn around that time.
Okay, Brandon will be here. Curtis? Thank you. And Chairman? Okay, Secretary. Lewis? And Lewis. And Susie, you can come. Susie, Gypsy, anybody can come in here during that time, and hopefully it won't be any longer than an hour.
Where are you going to be at, Louis? Or do we have to send a Facebook post to where your whereabouts?
Okay, the next one is a Lakeshore quote, and it's for $12,000. It's over $5,000 out of the Head Start budget. But when they shut us down and our year doesn't end until the end of November, this is the result. So this is supposed to come out of this year's budget, and I'm pushing it and going to ask everybody to speed it up, because Head Start has a different year end, and they shouldn't be penalized for that. We should have a special rule just for Head Start's year end. So anyway.
Motion to approve the quota 6106 from Kakizahaska Lakeshore. Second by all agency. Question by Madam Secretary.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. And then I did include the school readiness goals. So if you could go ahead and approve the school readiness goals, because when they ask you about those, yep, you've got a copy, you did approve them.
Floor is open for any discussions on readiness report. Go ahead, Dion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, and I know that this, you brought this to our attention, you know, several different times about when we're talking about school readiness, about the lack of certified staff. And I know that for years has been, you know, an issue. And I've gotten, you know, I think I was contacted by 2 parents, you know, regarding, you know, some of our staff at our tribal schools not being licensed or certified or having, you know, the credentials. So with readiness for the little guys, you know, how it, can you speak, I guess, a little bit about that
Where they are?
issue with the staff as well?
Okay, so last year, that was my last year's monitoring visit. At the end of the year, I got to do with them. And so we really pushed all of our Head Start staff. That's why you guys were seeing the completions of the CDA and congratulate them and the AA degrees and stuff. So our staff did well at the end of last year. So that was, and we managed to get, you know, a good approval, a good rating and everything on where we are. So now we're starting all over again. We ended the year last year short of Head Start teachers. We had early Head Start classroom closed. We had a 3-4-year-old classroom closed, and so now we've hired in new staff, and so we're starting all over again. So all staff have a professional development plan up there. They're either, as required, they're either in a CDA or they're going for early childhood education. We got 4 of them in college right now from SWC or else Bay Mills, and Bay Mills is no charge to them to get that education. So we have 4 of them in there. We also have all of our new people. They have to wait their 90 days before they actually are required. So, you know, it is what it is, and we'll take our hits for our new people, but we're, as an entity, their certifications and their educations are coming up. And, you know, for the first time, they're getting pay raises and things like that. So it's looking good over there.
Okay, any other questions or comments for the school readiness report for Head Start? If not, motion to approve. So moved by Curtis. Second by Dallas. Question by Susie.
Yes. Brandon Gipsy-Iwana,
Yes.
Brandon Adams,
Yes.
Dallas Owen. Yes. Lydia Amos. Yes. Lou Johnson. Yes. Dion Crawford.
Yes.
Title Secretary.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. The last thing was to approve all their reports. There's the director staff reports, if you have any questions there, data reports, enrollment, and their end of month enrollment, and then the food reimbursement reports, the health reports, and financial reports. So as soon as our audit was done, I got a copy of it, submitted it to the state. They finally approved our CANS program, our adult and child nutrition. So they released our funds and approved our grant. So that we're very happy with. The other thing is our Head Start, and you got a copy of I think the award in here, is that our Head Start grant for this coming year was approved already. And I think this is the first time in my knowledge that it's ever been approved ahead of time.
Thank you. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Great work, Dr. Johnson.
That would be Sherry Marks.
Oh,
Yep.
awesome. Sherry Marks.
That's
We're doing
right.
that out there. Shout out for, she's probably listening on the radio.
She better be listening.
Members of council, if you have any further questions for her 6 action items, there's a motion to approve. So moved by Kakiza Haska. Second by Susie. Question by Madam Secretary. All 6 of them.
Yes.
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 Thank you, leadership. Anything else, Dr. Johnson?
Yesterday, you had towards the end of the day, you had a conversation about the college. Is there anything that you want me to follow up for? Do you need clarification on any questions or that I can help with?
Go ahead, Curtis.
I think Haipa asked if we change over in presidents, is that going to affect our accreditation?
Well, colleges change presidents all the time. Right now, if you want to change in president, then you have to go about the processes and everything. You got to do those things in the good way. Will it affect your accreditation? They don't like to see a turnover often with the president, and our college systemically has a lot of colleges or a lot of presidents there. So will it affect our accreditation? I don't think there's anything in there that says, it's going to hurt our accreditation, but there's a protocol and a process for everything.
Okay, Dallas, floor is yours.
So, not talking about the president, but just seating a board member like the way we did, is that an issue?
Well, it all depends on what the college does with it. It could be an issue. It's potentially an issue. Because you have a district that has appointed a representative and they refuse to seat her. So that is in itself an issue.
And so that's just kind of where we're going, is that, to reiterate, we're just wanting Buffalo Lake to go through with their wishes of managing their affairs, of putting their own board member on the board. Right now, as I see it, council has no plans of intervening with the college outside of that. I just want to state that for the record again.
Yeah. The only thing I would think that would happen is the next step. If they refuse to do it, then it would be a question of whether the council wants to lift a little limited sovereignty, immunity of sovereignty, so Buffalo Lake can proceed to the next step with in the court systems. That's about all I could figure out to do about that situation.
You got this, Curtis.
Go ahead, Dion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I think as the Board of Regents, how often do you meet?
Well, we were meeting Thursday was our next quarterly. Mm-hmm. To answer your question, quarterly or more often as needed. Our next meeting was going to be Thursday, but they moved Tiosh Bazina's board meeting to noon that day. And I'm highly thinking that it won't be done by 1 o'clock. And Gabe needs to be at the Board of Regent meeting too.
And I think if we could request that the Board of Regents at least review that charter, because I think that's, now this came from my district meeting. This is the information that was given at my district meeting, that the charter that they're using may or may not be the most current one. And that charter is how they're saying that the district doesn't have the right to switch out their member. And I think that needs to be reviewed, because we don't want to do it here at this level. I mean, I think we stepped in because we were requested to, and I think that, having when you have the board chair that's kind of refusing to move, that makes an even bigger issue, which I think was why we entertained that motion on behalf of, Buffalo Lake District. But I also think that this needs to be handled outside of this body. So if that's something that, you would be willing to kind of take on, I think that would be a better place for that to happen.
Okay. Regarding the charter, I know that the last charter I have, and that was approved by council, and legal did ask me for a copy of that charter, so I provided that charter to them. But the one that's on the website, I am told, is not the same. So unless the charter comes before this body, it can't be recognized, or it has to be changed here, nowhere else. So if there's a second charter running around, I will look into this and find out, and I'll work with the college president on this and really try to figure out what's going on there.
Floor is still yours, Dion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So then the other thing, though, that I do know is that we recently approved, I think we approved Teoshpazina's charter, but they amended their charter and that never came back here, to my understanding, because what was given to me when I was ex officio for a short amount of time, what was given to me and what I had in my office were two totally different things. So I really think we need to get I think that these school boards need to, in these boards of education, they need to understand that they are authorized from this body, that we delegate that authority to them, not the other way around. And so those documents and those things needs to be done correctly, because that is our authority that they're working under. And I would never want to do this ever, but that's if the situation becomes so egregious that we have to pull those back, that would be a very sad day, because you really want to entrust those bodies to take the authority that is granted from us and operate in a respectful manner with it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
As a follow-up, I will request that all of our educational entities put their authorizing language at the bottom in their footnotes on each one of their charters. That way you have the approval dates, and any time it's amended, I'll ask them if they could add that onto all their charters, so we have that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Madam Secretary.
Just an interesting thought, I guess. Based on that and the lack of charter, if the charters were not blessed or adopted by the tribal council, can we turn around and say, okay, any action that these educational entities have taken, the board of directors on the school boards, a college board, Teoshpazina, are they even valid? If they're operating with a charter that's not approved by tribal council, are any of these actions even valid?
They would be valid under the approved charter, but if it's changed in an unapproved charter, then they're not valid.
Okay, thank you.
Curtis?
To your knowledge, has anything changed in that charter regarding the district electing college board members or school board members?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
Because the charter has not come back to council. So that's the...
So with that being said, then in your opinion, then is the district in the right then for bringing a motion here for us guys to seat a board member?
Well, where else are they supposed to go? Because the charter is with the council, and so if the college is violating that, the college board, the governing entity is the governance here. So yes, I believe that's appropriate.
Okay, any more questions or comments for Dr. Johnson? Hear none, see none. Motion to approve the education and early Head Start report presented by Dr. Johnson. Moved by Tokanawa, second by Kakiza Haska. Question by all agency.
Lydia Amos? Yes. Louis Johnson? Yes. Dion Crawford? Yes. Curtis Bisnet? Yes. Brandon Gypsy Wana?
Yes.
Brandon Adams?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion.
Thank you, leadership. Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, council. I'm out of here.
All right, council, I'm 2 minutes behind schedule. but we have enrollment. Is enrollment available?
Sherry, Louis told me to tell you to go over there.
Right.